Just when it was safe to assume that current Star Trek was absolute trash and did nothing more than make its viewers miserable, the franchise has taken a little detour. Is this just a vain attempt to gain back viewers? Or are we being lulled into a false sense of security, a bait and switch, before the banging drums of identity politics and worldview warfare return big time? With all of this in mind, join us as we discuss Season 2 of Star Trek Picard. Mm-hmm. Hiya folks, Carl James here from Electric Media Madness, joined by Dan Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Did we ever think this was going to happen again?
No.
No.
We actually said it wouldn't.
No. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we're psychopaths.
Yeah. So, Star Trek Picard Season 2. Before we get going with our little discussion, a little bit of Star Trek bookkeeping I just want to get out of the way. I've had some messages from people on social media. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, everybody out there, for all the messages and things like that, commenting on videos and things like that. Really, really, really do appreciate it. So there was 3 little things. Some of it's relevant to you. So I'd had a couple of people asking me, were we going to be covering Star Trek Picard Season 2? And well, obviously we are. Yeah, at this point now, we don't know where this is going to go, but certainly at this point now, yes, we are going to talk about it. This episode. Don't know where. Certainly a few more, but yeah, we'll see where we go with that. The second one was, are we going to be talking about Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery? There's very little of it left. So
I mean, I've only watched the first one.
Yeah,
I haven't watched the rest.
I've been watching it, but I don't want to talk about it. It was it's great. Before we got doing this channel, when Season 2 was going, all that, it would have been great to make videos about it then, because there was so much to talk about. It was hilarious, the identity politics. The same was true of Season 3, although they did dial it down a little bit. But towards the end of the season, I know you didn't join me for the finale stuff.
I did watch it, but
yeah, but it was hilarious. It really, really was, and there was so much. At that point, it was just laughing at the incompetency of it all, you know. This season, as far as I'm concerned, has just been really, really boring.
Has it?
Yeah, it's just it's not even really all that much you can get into the identity politics now. It's still there, but it's just become so same. You know, it's going on all the time that just really. They're just regurgitating the same things that they've been doing all the way through. So it just variations of a theme. We'd just be going over stuff we've already.
I literally, I watched the first one. I was just like, I was watching it. I'm like, it's alright, I guess, whatever. And then it's like an anomaly. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, another anomaly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, because there is actually an anomaly in this episode. I
know, but
it's a bit different.
Yeah.
But when it showed up, I was like, oh, fuck.
I mean, let's face it, Star Trek is renowned for anomalies. They're in the original series right through to Enterprise and even now. But so it's hardly an original.
But all there is now is anomalies contrivance. And AI.
Yeah.
But not this time.
And what
sort of.
Well, but one of the things that I find with it now is it's not even hilarious. The incompetence is not even hilarious now. The incompetence is just incompetent, and it's not even something that you can really laugh. It's very much this the storytelling thing, of which is quite common now in storytelling. It's like this. It's not a case of this happens because of that. It's like the next thing happened because the previous thing happened, and then something else happens because of. It's very much sort of, and then this happens, then this happens, and then this happens, and this series, Star Trek Picard, does it as well.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into that. So, yeah, that's really where we stand. You watched the first one, you haven't watched it anymore. I don't think I could put myself there. I certainly don't want to put you through it. But, I just think it's dumb.
Maybe one day I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Probably not.
It's ironic considering where things are with... But we're going to get into that with Star Trek Picard, because it's a very different thing. I know Discovery Season 4 and 5, I think they were shot back to back. Well, they might still be shooting 5 now, I'm not sure, but they were part of the same production block, 4 and 5 were. And I've got a feeling that Picard was shot after that. But we're going to get into corrections of the franchise, maybe, temporarily. But, you know, if there is a course direction change, they all, they wouldn't have even known what the ratings were for Discovery while they were making Picard. So I don't know, maybe one is going to stick to that track of this trash and the identity politics, and maybe something, or we're going to be lulled into a false insecurity with this. But
it could just be that they're two completely separate entities, and they were looking back at season one, going like, people did not like the end of this. Maybe we need to do something.
Because season one of Picard did the same thing, didn't it? Just in a slightly different way, but it was still full of all the bad story, and then this happens, and then this happens, like laughable things, incompetence. The space ocarina that repaired everything and all that, and the bomb in the football, and Narek suddenly appearing, jumping down from out of thin air and all that, well, there's all of that in it, and the Picard's apology tour, we're to blame for everything.
I genuinely think that if they'd cut a few episodes off Picard, it'd be way better, because you learn everything in like 2 episodes. The characters learn it all by like episode 6 or 7. So you're kind of exhausted and bored by then, and all interest is gone. If they knew it straight away, maybe I'd have been interested by the end, but at the end I was just bored. And
a lot of what we do here, and for my alternative knowledge researcher viewers as well, and people that follow all that sort of stuff, a lot of what I want to do with this channel is like to talk about these TV programs and point out the agendas behind them, because there are lots of agendas. It's also about us liking things or bashing on things that are crap, and showing the state of bad storytelling. But even if you leave all the identity politics in Star Trek aside, you've still got really shit storytelling, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's so anyway. So yeah. In answer to our first question, probably not with Star Trek Discovery. Not. Picard. We'll see where we go. So the second thing that I've had a couple of messages about this one now. This one I'm going to turn over to you is: will we be doing any more Star Trek Deep Space Nine? Because there's quite a few people who liked our block selective reviews. So I know I would quite happily do them. That one's got to answer that question.
Yes. Okay. I don't know when.
Okay. So you've heard it on camera, folks. Yes, but as to when, we don't know yet. It's not a case of if, it's a case of when.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I also had somebody contact me, I think it was a video that I did with Andrew Johnson, where I was talking about Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, and the Lab 9 phenomenon, which I've written huge chapters about in Science Fiction Hidden Global Agenda Volume 1. So you can check all that out there. But somebody asked me if I would be able to make a video about it. I mean, there's a huge amount of material there. To tell the story properly would be a long video, or several videos would be long. And it's a huge amount of work. Yes, I do want to do it. I would very much like to do it, but it's time. That's really is the thing, is the time involved. It's probably a case of not if, it's probably a case of when for that one. So that's on that one then. Right then, so before we get into the plot and our thoughts and our discussion, all that, shall I, first of all, for you, why did you say yes to coming back to doing this?
Because I'm a psychopath.
Okay.
It starts off at Picard's little
vineyard.
Well, I say little. Yeah, His huge vineyard. And the first 10 minutes of it really are there. Which, it was actually the same in the first episode of season 1.
Pretty much, yeah.
I was kind of thinking that they're quite similar somewhat.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe we're being a little into false. Because before you carry on, sorry to interrupt you, I went back and watched all of our videos on, which was, I enjoyed watching us talking about it, but it was painful to be reminded of things. All the Discovery season 3s and all the Picards to try and remind myself of how I scored things.
Yeah,
and the highest rated episode I've given on video was the first episode of season 1 of Picard, which I think I gave a 5 out of 10 for.
It was probably the best one.
Yeah. And I'm sensing a pattern here. Maybe
it's like the first episode they play a bit safe, and the best stuff of the show is Picard being like basically the first 10 minutes of this episode, and in season 1 as well, doing his old man Picard things, kind of.
I don't know, because one of the things I'm going to get into is I do feel like Picard was more like Picard in this episode.
Oh, definitely.
Than anything that has been in this series so far. Wasn't far from perfect.
I guess all it took was for him to die.
Well, yeah, because he's not really even Picard, is he? Let's face it, he's a golem, he's a robot.
Yeah.
He's an android, sorry, I should say, or whatever you want to call it, synthetic. So he's not the real Picard. The real Picard is dead.
Yeah.
You know, so that's worth remembering, really, I suppose, which kind of guts the point of watching it, really. But if we put that aside and suspend our disbelief, I would say this is probably the most Picard-like Picard we've seen in this series so far.
It's like a soft reboot. That's what it kind of felt.
From the first season.
That's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah.
Like, all of the characters, because basically everyone returns from the first season. I mean, the ones that haven't will, probably. But they all felt different. Like, they felt like just supporting characters.
Yeah.
Not like main characters.
Yeah, I must preface that with something that we'll get into later in this video, is that I think we've got to be very careful that we're not being bait and switched here with Luke Skywalker in Disney or something like that, you know, with the Mandalorian and Boba Fett and all that this isn't just key jangling to get people back on board, and then maybe next episode or a couple of episodes away from here we're gonna, because I think we are, because there's a reason for that. Well, I'll get into that later, because of where some part of this series is going to be set back in the past. They're not going to be able to avoid their identity politics with that. It's a perfect setup to get into that sort of stuff. So I think they're going back to that. I think this is just I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It would be nice if it was wrong. And we also can't forget that this is Kurtzman's lot. Until they're gone from it, they're always going to have their dirty fingers all over. Although, in fairness, and again, I should have done my homework before I recorded this video. There is somebody who worked on Enterprise, on Star Trek Enterprise, that's on this show. I can't remember if he's a writer or a producer. I think certainly somebody who co-wrote this episode. Is it Terry? Please go and look for me. Tell me in the comments. But yeah, there's a few people that have been working on this that have got some reasonably good Star Trek pedigree. So but is it a case of they work their magic? Or maybe they don't now, for all we know. Maybe they can't work their magic like they used to. Or maybe they have, but then Kurtzman's come along and go, I'll take this apart and I'll change that to that and put this in there. And all of a sudden you're into batshit, drug-realmed, crazy Hollywood sort of 2020 sort of... Anyway. Yeah, sorry, carry on. Oh, way on track.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going back to what we were saying. So Picard, his vineyard.
Yeah, he's got his lover lady whose name I can't... Well, they're not lovers, but they almost are.
Ola Brady. Good actress, actually. Yeah, I like her. She's...
God knows what the character's name is.
I think it's Laris, is it?
Sure.
I can't.
We'll go with that.
No, it sounds...
We'll go with that.
I'm probably wrong, but it sounds right to me. So.
And then, it's Picard being like... I cannot love you, I love the stars more. Basically...
That is actually reasonably consistent with the character over the show.
Yeah, it is.
He's always put even when he had the chance to be an archaeologist and that with Professor Galen and that, he said, no, I'm a captain of a starship and that's what my first calling. It's always been.
There's a anomaly thing which when I first saw that I was like, oh god, not another anomaly this season. But that does change, so I can forgive that.
Yeah.
You see some of the characters from season 1 doing Star Trek things.
Yeah, I think I can't remember which way we see it first, but Rios is now captain of a refitted Stargazer named after and looks sort of similar-ish to Picard's Stargazer that he served on before Enterprise. Which I take issue with where the characters are now, because let's face it, they're murderers and junkies and psychopaths. I was kind of thinking this.
They're all criminals.
Yeah. So, but they all seem to have done very, very well out of this. Especially Jurati. We'll come to that in a minute. I mean, yeah. So him chomping away on his cigar like Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica on the bridge of it, it's kind of not in keeping with what we know of Star Trek. But yeah.
I mean, the only one that would actually fit there is Elnor, really.
Yeah, because he's gone into Starfleet, first Romulan, and I know there have been half Romulans. Savick was, I think there was one in the episode The Drumhead Next Generation who part of his ancestry was Romulan or something like that. There may be other characters. It may be that there was a full Romulan who's in Starfleet at some point. I don't think so. Certainly not in up to this current point in the timeline of Picard. So it probably is the first one. Yeah. I like it when they fuck up and they make these continuity errors in Star Trek and they go, yeah, well actually they have done that before, but I want to say that they haven't done this before. I might be wrong,
but they didn't bully Elnor this time.
No, this is
true.
He got
harassed,
with respect, and
bullied, everything last season.
He was the butt of everything, wasn't he? He was the butt of the joke, and abused Elnor. Poor Elnor, as he was.
Yeah,
poor Elnor.
He's finally got his justice now.
Yeah. And on the Excelsior as well, although he's got pothead, dopehead Raffi as his commanding officer. So, but there you go.
They toned her back a lot.
Yeah.
They've toned everyone back.
Yeah. But not completely. There's still
not completely, but a lot.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, half the episode is just that, basically.
Yeah, it's setting up. You got 7 of 9 on La Serena, is it?
Yeah.
And she's got that ship now, and she's like with the Rangers and that. I still take issue with that because I still think that's not where 7 of 9's character should be, but there we go. Nothing we can do about that now. That's where she is.
Yeah.
And they took her and Raffi's relationship apart. I guarantee they're going to put it back together again at some point. But for now, they've moved.
I hope if they do, they actually interact a bit this time. Because last time, their relationship just came out of nowhere.
Well, that was my issue with it, and I've said this before. I said we talked about the what is it? Goodbye Kiss Hello 7 video that we did a Star Trek Voyager, and I said about that. Don't care about having a lesbian relationship on in these TV shows or any kind of that. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. Any sort of representation whatsoever. What I do care about is where it's clearly established in all the Voyager and that she liked men and had no interest in women in that way, and yet people can change, but it was literally just dumped in 30 seconds in the last episode, wasn't
even
it?
Disregarding whatever her sexuality was before, I don't even really remember them talking much. It's not like there was any
they had a handful
bit
of
of chemistry
together,
or
and there was no
tension.
real chemistry between them.
It's
They
not
had a
like there
handful
was
of scenes,
secret tension or whatever.
Yeah,
they just
that's right.
they just kissed. I was like, oh, they barely even friends.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So she's doing her thing. Soji, I've got a feeling she's not going to be in this season much. She wasn't in it much.
She wasn't.
That conference thing with the Deltans. Lieutenant Alia's race. My oath of celibacy is on record. Cook unit! Vidya. Sorry, I can't help it. Yeah, the Deltans, So there's probably a big sex party going on there on Delton that Soji's going to get taken off to the orgy afterwards, and Jurati's left her there.
Oh my.
There you go. Yeah, you get a planet of sex maniacs, then you're going to... My oath of celibacy is on record. Who else are we missing? Jurati's with her, and then she gets beamed up to the Stargazer. Picard goes back to Picard, doesn't it? Because he's been having dreams or visions or something of his mom.
There's a flashback
when he was
as well.
young. They implied that there was some sort of abusive relationship there between Picard's mom and dad, which doesn't ever seem to have ever been the case. Yes, Picard's dad was very stern, believed in the vineyard and the family line and all this kind of thing, and grow the grapes and make the wine and all that, and his brother was the same. But there was never any indication whatsoever that there was some sort of horribleness going on between his mum and dad. Where that's come from, I don't know. It seems to be in line with bad dads in modern fiction. They like that business. They like having bad dads. So, maybe that's why they've done it, which is a bit insulting if that's what they've done. So, who knows? So...
Yeah, he does a academy speech thing as well.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
that was to do with Elnor, wasn't it? To announce that he was the first.
Yeah.
They all kind of end up together. One of the admirals come to him and say...
But before that,
yes,
there was
the anomaly.
The anomaly thing, there's a bunch of languages overlaid with each other saying, help us, Picard.
Yeah, like a transmission
thing, yeah, so one of the
And you know it's the Borg straight off. You know it's the Borg.
You do. It just sounds.
I mean, we know that the Borg Queen's in it anyway because she's been in all the trailers right from the beginning, hasn't she? The Borg Queen.
I can't remember that she has, but as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be the Borg. That'll be the...
Yeah.
They recruit him into. He rejoins Starfleet.
Basically, yeah.
And just abandons his lover in the middle of the night. He just leaves.
Yeah, I don't think anything went on between them, do they? But I think
he's like almost lover.
Yeah, almost lover. Yeah.
He just like abandons her completely to look after the
yeah, here's the vineyard. You look after it while I piss off and leave you to it. You know. Look after my dog as well. They all end up on the Stargazer, don't they? And they go to this anomaly thing.
And then the Borg come out.
Yeah.
They're like, we want to join Starfleet.
Yeah.
And then the Queen comes on board.
Well, we think it's the Queen. It seems as though it's the Queen, but we don't actually see her face, do we? She's got this weird sort of Queen,
but she
looked like one of them the Wraith guards from Stargate Atlantis. They got like a mesh thing over their head, over their face, like hides their, you can't see their eyes, mouth, or anything. It looks a bit like that. So I don't know whether we were assuming it's the Borg Queen, but we don't know.
They said it was.
Did they actually say?
Okay. They said the Queen would be sent over, and then she turns into like Doc Ock from Spider-Man and sticks all of her tentacles into the computer and starts like taking control.
Yeah.
Picard starts self-destruct.
Yeah.
And then also something I just noticed randomly, I just remembered. He has literally no respect from his crewmates. He's like, stop firing, and they all just continue shooting. They just completely ignore him.
Yeah. I think there's an oddity to this, to that bit that goes on there, because they all seem to want to just quite happily let the Borg join the Federation.
Yeah.
Literally in the space of 5 minutes. There's a history of them knowing that the Borg cannot be reasoned with, even when they tried it in Scorpion Part 1 and 2, didn't they? And it all backfired, so they proved that they can't be trusted. They've tried to make out, the Borg have been got rid of now. There's very little of them left. They're scattered and they're a bit of a mess and all this kind of thing.
Last season it was basically they'd all gone.
Yeah. But that's never been established how that happened. Or some people have said, it's a follow-on from when they got the technology to the anti-Borg technology at the end of Star Trek Voyager, at the end of the series, and that's where that happened. But 7 of 9 says, these are the Borg, don't trust them. Which is weird, because she was like pro XPs in the previous season.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to help these people.
But I guess they're not the Borg anymore.
But she was all prepared to turn them back on again, weren't she? When she connected up as the we are the Borg and all that in the first season. So there's lots of weird sort of continuity errors there. So but I would have thought that most people would have said no. Yeah. No, let's play this a bit more careful.
They don't really say yes, because she they force their way onto the ship.
Right.
They beam through the shield.
And I thought, the Borg have just done their typical thing of they've just fooled them. Very easily fooled them. I don't think Picard would have fell for that in earlier shows, So I think he wouldn't really have fell for that. Or if the proper Picard, the real Picard that we know from earlier shows. But they go along with it. But then don't they say that she's stunning them, she's not killing them?
Yeah.
So that's weird. Were they really genuinely trying to, or was it just a?
I don't know.
But it did seem like she was trying to take over the fleet. Was she trying to take over the fleet to assimilate it, or was she trying to take over the fleet to
stop it from?
I don't know.
Are we gonna get the good Borg?
Yeah. I don't know. So anyway.
But then Picard
does his 0 destruct 0 0 0.
Yeah.
Same one that Kirk used in Star Trek 3.
And then it goes to blow up, and then Q shows up. And
and it seems like he's in this alternate timeline, because there's a painting of him all dressed in his leather bondage gear.
And he's like, the trial isn't over. Yeah. And then it basically ends.
Yeah. Oh, and he before he did clear off to Starfleet again, he visited Guinan as well.
He did, I forgot about that.
Yeah, in the bar, and she said, we travelled universes together. Really? I suppose you could say that you went into... Well, you didn't go into a parallel universe. A parallel universe was created around you in yesterday's Enterprise and that, and other things. But no, they didn't really travel universes together. But anyway, Yeah, it probably sounded good in whoever's mind who wrote it. You know, I bet that was a Kurtzman line. Put this in. Yeah. So that was really it. The setup for the next one. I think we're going to have a bit of the parallel universe thing initially before they decide to go back and find out what caused this change. Travel back in time.
Oh, is there going to be travelling back in time?
Oh yeah. The trailers have got scenes from now in the 2024. I think it's set.
Maybe I need to go and
a good portion
look at
of the series is set in 2024. Did you not see the coming this season thing at the end of it?
No, I saw the credits and I just turned it off.
Right, yeah, it said it got some clips and that. So, but in the trailers, it's got them.
Maybe I'll go and watch the trailer.
Raffi and Seven driving a car on a freeway thing and all that. And
what, in current time?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. 2024 it's set.
That's weird.
Which is why I think we might be being led into a full sense of security with that because yeah. So then, thoughts. Let's jump into it. So
I actually thought it was good. Like okay. I expect. I got myself proper psyched up before I watch it. I'm like, this is going to be shit. Mm-hmm. I am preparing for shit.
Yeah.
This is going to be awful. I'm going to be bored to oblivion.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, anomaly again. Mm-hmm. But I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I found myself engaged.
Yeah.
Engaged. Yeah, there were a lot of things wrong with it. I was nitpicking a lot. There didn't seem to be a huge amount of identity politics in it. As far as I can recall, there was very little, possibly none, I don't think, swearing in it. There might have been. I can't remember. I thought it did a very, very good job of pulling people back in again, which is why I think that we're being set up for something here. Star Wars on Disney, because it they set people up with Luke Skywalker, and people thought, oh, we're turning a corner here now with Star Wars. Maybe it's gonna. We thought that episode was brilliant. We lauded that episode, didn't we? The Mandalorian season 2, the finale, and then they sacked Gina Carano. And did a whole host of other things, and just basically just shat all over fandom, and a lot of people were like, we're done, we're out. And then the atrocity that was the Book of Boba Fett comes along with its little Vespa-coloured, Dalek-coloured scooter things, and all that. And then all of a sudden, again, they pull the same trick again. Luke Skywalker, all this kind of thing and that. And they brought the Mandalorian back, which was a good episode and that.
It was actually some of the best Mandalorian episodes.
Yeah, even though it wasn't a Mandalorian, And then people are thinking, oh, yeah, it's going to get good again. The finale is shit.
I watched the
I know you haven't watched it. It's got a good big thing with the Rancor monster in it, but other than that, even that's got a lot of problems with it. But it really was a terrible episode, So there's only so many times you can keep doing it. It's a bit like I equate it to, and people might say this is an inappropriate analogy, but it's a bit like the abuser of their partner or whoever. Yeah. And I promise I'll never ever do it. It's never ever again. Beat the shit out of it. And that is what the people that run these franchises, the companies that own these franchises, that's what they're doing quite often to the fans. And I can't help but wonder, specifically because, let's think about it this way, right? If you've got a big chunk of this season 2 of Picard is going to be set in 2024, right? So let's just, that's more or less now, a couple of years, right? They are not going to be able to resist putting two things, because people have to understand, not everybody does, there's a lot of people who don't, there's a lot of people that do, is we're very much living in an era now where the media, whether it be fiction or non-fiction, whether it be news, current affairs, or whether it's drama or game shows or reality shows or whatever, fear and hating and spreading division and all that kind of thing is a commodity. It's a trading commodity in the media now. Identity politics is very divisive. It splits people up. It's a divide and conquer in society. And you've also, another tradable commodity in the media now is worldview warfare, psychological warfare. People are becoming victims of mean world syndrome, where everything they watch is convincing them that the world's going to end tomorrow. And they love that. They love frightening people to death. And it's just not like that. And I know many, many people who I don't watch the news and things like that. I get my information elsewhere, and it's far more accurate, it's far more credible. And when I do have the misfortune of catching bits of the news, frightening people to death, Most of it's misinformation, disinformation, or at worst it's outright lies, but then I also see people who watch it who have really fallen victim to it. I've heard people have said to me recently, "Oh, do you think we're going to have a nuclear war?" No.
Yeah.
That's the answer I give people. No. And if it did happen, fuck all you can do about it. It'll be over that. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just get on with your life. Don't watch that shit. You'll be far happier and far healthier for ignoring it. Irrespective of what people say about the media and all that, you will be a lot more rounded, healthier, happier, enriched person for not ever paying attention. They do this kind of thing in drama as well. They do this kind of thing in science fiction. So I cannot see how they're not going to be able to resist doing that. They're going to do their identity politics. They're going to talk about race. They're going to talk about gender. They're going to talk about sexuality. But they're not going to do it in a constructive, thought-provoking way. They're going to bash people over the head and say, we are virtue signalling to you. This is what we think should be. You should think like this. And the world's like that. It's not, Most people are very well adjusted and very accepting of it. But they want you to believe that it's right, it's everywhere, and and it's all about dividing people. So I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it, and they're going to comment on politics. They're going to say about certain leaders of certain countries who were the devil incarnate, and it's ironic really, because I believe that you've watched the two-parter from Deep Space Nine, Past Tense, where Sisko and Bashir are back in the Sanctuary District.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's a great story. I mean, that talks about socio-political issues in a really thought-provoking way. It does. I think we do see one of the Sanctuary District signs where the story's set. It's in that time period. Possibility of mentioning Gabriel Bell and the character that Sisko took over in the Sanctuary District and all that, stood in for him. So I think they're going to go into that, but I don't think they're going to do it in a clever, thought-provoking, well-written way. I think they're just going to preach to everybody, and so I'm going to be, and we've got to remember. Sorry, I keep going. Yeah. We've got to remember, never ever forget, there are certain people who are still leading Star Trek. You can, 20 odd people as producing credits on the first opening credits of that. It's over 21. Yeah, that's more than Discovery's got, now. Yeah. So, who's calling the shots on this? But at the end of the day, Kurtzman, people have said, oh, he's in it all but name now. Akiva Goldsman is a terrible screenwriter. And also, let's look at the facts here. Really cheap, lazy, bad storytelling. I give Lost as a good example. Alex Kurtzman worked on Lost. Flashbacks, parallel universe, sideways flashes and all that kind of thing. It's the mystery box setting something up. The J.J. Abrams thing, the mystery box. What's in the box? What's the mystery? And never really telling you at the end. And they did this with this episode as well. They're setting it up. So I don't think I'm really careful not to get lulled into a false sense of security. I think this is a temporary thing. I think they're shitting themselves at the moment that nobody's watching Star Trek anymore, and they spent that huge amount of money rehiring Alex Kurtzman for another 5 years. They got money problems. They lost the Netflix thing, didn't they? For Star Trek Discovery.
It's all gone off Netflix.
So and even though it's very, very difficult to know exactly how many people are watching on, is it Paramount Plus now? It's changed its name about 3 times.
Yeah.
CBS All Access, and then it was CBS Viacom, and it's Paramount.
It's on there, and it's on Picard's on Prime.
Yeah.
And the new episode's on Prime, so they've not took it off there, but they've took it off Netflix.
But case in point, we talked about the advertising this. You said that you've seen very little.
I literally didn't know it was coming out until you told me.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer ages ago, but
I think they've realised that they've shit the load on this one, and there's just very little. It's not really trending. And certainly, if we wanted to make a video that would gain some attention with this, it's not a very good subject to talk about, is it? We've got different reasons for wanting to talk about it anyway, but
because I remember season 1, they really advertised it. I was out shopping somewhere and they had this big Picard booth thing.
Yeah, big time, wasn't it? Yeah, it was all over Amazon, Amazon in terms of advertising. And that.
But just in the streets everywhere, there was loads of advertisement for everything, nothing for this.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if. I mean, promotion is the key to all of this. But I'm wondering if maybe we've got Guinan, we've got the Borg Queen, we've got Q, we've got the Stargazer, we've got the Excelsior. We've got starships that actually look like Star Trek starships again for the first time in the Kurtzman era. And the Excelsior looks very similar to the Excelsior that you see, the Excelsior class that you see in Star Trek 3 and throughout Next Generation, Deep Space Nine and all that. You know, the starships actually look like proper. They're not like the cut and paste fleet that we saw at the end of season 1 of Picard, where every ship was identical. You know,
they were identical. Yeah.
There's all the different classes. You know, all the different, So maybe they really are. It might be a temporary thing, but get people in. Try to get. Well, it must be the hardcore Star Trek fans, if nothing else. Maybe that's what they're trying to. They're trying to get them back. They're like, oh, we've lost the normies already, so we'll just try and get the hardcore Trekkies back. It will work for some people. It worked for a lot of people. Just jangle those keys at them, and they'll come running. You know. But yeah, I'm sure there's many other things I can think about to say.
I'm weird. I can really disassociate the product from the people. Like, I can do that really well.
You can't do that.
I know you can't at all.
It's in my nature because of the way I investigate the companies and the people involved and things like that. So it's really hard for me to watch something and just watch it. Like, funnily enough, I can with some of the old Star Trek. Next Generation is a great show for sticking on and just switching your brain off. I can do it with some things, and those are the shows that I can't do it with new Star Trek though. I can't do it.
It's weird in my head. It's like I can view it as like it's a new thing every time. Like, oh, maybe it'll be good this time. It could be good this time, and like. In my head,
it isn't.
in my head, Picard season 2 is a different thing to season 1, and I can do like I did that with Star Wars. Like after The Last Jedi, I viewed Rise of Skywalker as a different thing. And
so, how are you going to feel then if they do go down that route again with this season?
Well, they're not just
lazy storytelling, and they're bashing you over the head with identity politics again, and it's
disingenuous. It'll be shit, won't it?
Yeah.
Till eventually, I can't bring myself to watch it anymore, like Discovery.
But you say no, Carl. I'm not reviewing anymore.
But even if the people behind it are like really horrible people, like I can disassociate the people from the product.
Yeah, I can't.
So even if someone says something or does something, I'm like, oh, that's not very nice. I can view it for just the product.
Yeah, we're different.
I know you can't do that.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just the way I am, you know. I wish sometimes I could, because there's some things that just. It's funny actually, because I can do it. There's one thing that I can do, which a lot of people can't do now. Is like, you know how some people, because of what's happened to new Star Trek, they now will no longer watch the old Star Trek either. Yeah, well, people who hate what's happened to the new Doctor Who, they won't watch the old Doctor Who now either, or you know, like 2005 onwards Doctor Who, or even any of it. You know, the original series up to 89. You know, I can do that. I can quite happily watch a David Tennant, you know, any of them right up to the end of Capaldi. I can watch them.
I find that weird. If it's like a mystery show or something, like the whole thing's about a mystery, and then the end of the mystery ruins the whole thing, that's a bit different. But where something like that, I don't understand that. Like most of the episodes are standalone anyway.
So. I think it's because in the fictional nature of it, I know what they've done, I know exactly what they've done and all that, but I will be damned, because I think that's their plan. They want to destroy the entire canon of it. Not just destroy it now, but destroy it retroactively, back, sort of echoing back through the past. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let them destroy what was quality and good and thought-provoking and had a really good message to it. No, I'm not going to let them fuck that up for me. I'm still going to watch it and still going to get inspired by it. The new stuff I know is shit, but that's their thing. You know, and I'm not going to give it any credence. I'm not going to say... In my mind, it's almost like it's a parallel universe that just, you know... Capaldi in Doctor Who didn't regenerate. He just went to sleep or died, and that was it, you know. Or, you know, and, you know, Picard sat round that table at the end of the Next Generation playing cards, playing poker with them, and they just sail off into the sunset, and they all stayed on the Enterprise forever until they all died and dropped down dead and got old and decrepit. But I'm such a cynical old git these days. I really am, you know. I know I don't fall for it anymore, you know. I would like to be pleasantly surprised. I would like to see a turnaround. That's why I said in the intro, it has took something of a detour. This is probably the most Star Trek what I consider to be Star Trek. This is probably feels the most like Star Trek that Star Trek has felt like since 2009. J.J. Abrams, the first one. I think this episode has felt the most. I think
it's probably
like old Star Trek.
I'm trying to think, but it's probably been the best episode.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably damning that with fake praise, especially when I give my score for it. Yeah, it's
the only other one maybe was the Cage episode and Discovery.
Yeah, if memory serves, that was a good episode. We haven't reviewed that because we weren't even doing the channel then. But yeah,
but that one was good.
That stands up as a good episode. Yeah, but I think that was more because I love the Cage.
Yeah.
I think it's a great story.
It is,
Captain Pike and Vina in that episode. It was nice. I know there's different actors playing them, but it was a nice callback to it.
Yeah.
I know it had some shitty things in it with Michael Burnham and that, but take that out of the episode. It was a great little story there. It was really nice. Yeah, I know it was member berries and all that, but in a good way. In a good way. So yeah.
But yeah, I think this is probably the best. Maybe the best one.
I think in terms of feel.
Yeah.
There are still a lot of contrivances here. There's still a lot of mystery box. There's still a lot of Lost thing, that they did, the JJ Brigade did with Lost. There is still this, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens in this episode. So that that's bad writing. So that does happen here again. I think the reason why I'm not going to shit. It did actually have me engaged. It did actually have me there watching it, and I was interested to see where it was going to go. So, yeah, I think apart from our scoring of it, is there anything else you wanted to say? I think we can leave that there, can't we?
I think that's it,
Yeah. So we're going to stick it out for now. I don't know when we're going to be doing these videos because of the way I'm working and things like that at the moment. That's one of the big things that's delayed doing this video. So I'm hoping that we'll try and keep on track with it. But if you bail out at any point, or I say, yeah, I'm done with it, we might be able to chronicle its demise. But we did that with Star Trek Discovery Season 3, didn't we? It was chronicling its demise.
Yeah.
And then I watched those 2 episodes that we did, Terra Firma, was it? Me and you. And we was just like, done. The life was just gone from us, wasn't it? It was just, I think you were out of it at that point then, didn't you? You did 2-part 2 and that was, you were done.
Some of them I just...
Yeah, and I thought, well, I'm only 3 episodes away from the end, so I may as well finish it. Which I was rewarded by the hilarity of the incompetence in that last couple of episodes, but nothing else.
It's a better start than it's been.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
And the sets didn't look like they were cheap shit from Amazon this time as well.
Everything actually looked pretty well made. There was some money gone into this. Maybe they threw all the money at the first episode to get everybody back. Who knows?
I might be wrong. Like, people might find all the stuff in the background on Amazon again, like they did last season.
Maybe, yeah. There is one other little thing that's worth mentioning as well, which is always going to be a bit of a draw for me. John Delancey is a very good actor. He's an arrogant sod as a person, but that's the actor. So let's just leave the actor side of it aside. But that character Q, I mean, he's a good actor, and that character is brilliant. Q is a great character.
Yeah,
and even the shitty episodes of Q, like True Q and Q-less in Deep Space Nine and all that, and the last one he did on Voyager as well. Q2, I think it was, with his son and all that. They're weaker episodes, but I will watch any Q episode because he's a good character. So I'm interested. I like Q. I think it'd be interesting to see where this goes with him. So yeah. So shall we score it then before we put this video to bed?
I am
okay. Interested?
I think I'd give it like a 7.
Right.
Enjoyed it. It was good.
Okay. I'm suffering a little bit from what you have suffered from sometimes, where you think of other things that are so much better.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about all the scores I've given for episodes of Star Trek that non-current Star Trek, all the other things that I like. So I had to factor that in and think, these things are so much better than this, and I gave them a 7. This is that thing that I watched is so much better than this, but that was so. What I'm going to do is I did think it was better than the first episode of season 1, which is my highest rated, and I gave that a 5. So I'm going to give this 5.5.
I thought you were going to say 5.1.
No, I'm not going to be that pedantic. I'm going to just because you're a little bit higher. Yeah, I'm going to give it 5.5.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite 6. But let's see where it goes. Let's see where this season goes.
I mean, my ratings are just on how much I enjoy stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We all have different ways of voting on this, scoring these things, don't we? Yeah. So, it'd be interesting. I'm at the moment. I'm interested to see what happens, but I am very, very cautious because I know what these people like to do.
Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I'm kind of open. I'm like, go on. Show me what you got then.
I just don't think they're going to be able to resist themselves. They've got a series set. At some point, they're going to be set in present day. And there's no way on earth they are going to do a story set in present times where they're not going to say, you're a racist, you're a this, you're a that, you're a hater, at the audience. They've got it set there and then. How are they going to want, they love talking about current day politics and everything. You think of anything nowadays on television, they love putting current day politics into it. There would be, socio-political stuff or identity, you name it. They love putting it. They can't help themselves. So, and they're really shooting themselves in the foot by doing that. Just tell a good story. I might be really wrong.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong, and I will say, yeah, they've turned a corner. They're trying to get the fandom back now. I don't think they will. They can't help themselves. Kurtzman and probably Paramount as well, because I have heard stories. I do have some circumstantial evidence of money coming in from these organisations that are involved in social engineering. It's where a lot of Star Trek Discovery money is coming. Star Trek Discovery's money is coming from now. These think tanks and these charitable organisations that basically just throw money at things to spread a socio-political message. And there does seem to be some money going into Star Trek Discovery to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if those same types of money and groups are throwing money at Picard. Maybe they're not.
Yeah.
I think as far as I know, is Amazon still...
It is out on Amazon still, yeah.
Are they still putting money into this? Or I mean, they must do to some degree if they're showing it on Amazon, because they wouldn't show it for nothing, would they?
I mean, it's like the banner at the top of Prime, so...
Yeah, so there's got to still be some Amazon money coming into it. So you have to wonder whether Amazon have said, this time, make something that we can sell that isn't going to alienate people.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Watch this space. That's all I can say. Yeah. If they've done it right, then Picard will have made it so.
Just please don't make it as boring as season 1, please.
Definitely not. Yeah. Okay then. So thank you so much for joining me for this one, Dan. It's been interesting. It's been good, and we'll see what happens.
Yes.
Hopefully
Hopefully
out to the end. We'll see. Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us as well. We really do appreciate all the support. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. That's great. Also, if you're interested in going down some rabbit holes with Star Trek, you might want to check out Science Fiction and the Hidden Global Agenda. It's available on Amazon in ebook and paperback. Volume 1 has got several really hefty chapters on Star Trek, and I really do go to some strange places with it. I do go down some rabbit holes. So if you're into some interesting esoteric takes on Star Trek, then that might be worth checking out for you. And if you do, I'd really appreciate the support. It's really helpful. So for now, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Dan and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye bye for now.
Goodbye.